like that shit. I do magic laws.
What's good? You really doing today? Back to the Impact of Dragon Ball Z, the series that changed everything. Now I'll be seeing a lot of Dragon Ball Z slander. You know what I'm saying? Especially on Twitter, a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, bruh. I see a lot of people say that Dragon Ball Z doesn't really have like a plot and like a story or like themes. That is basically just like brute fighting. You know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping he or she, hoping that they cover some of that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, 5 years ago. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Let's hop straight into it. You know what I'm saying? I said that
One
5 times.
that anime. The one that takes you from a place of not knowing anything about Japanese animation to one where you do. One that lets you know that the rules are different here, that these don't work the same way as Western cartoons. And for a lot of people, that anime was Dragon Ball Z.
But I feel like people haven't watched Dragon Ball Z when they got older. You feel me? I feel like people only watch it once as like a kid or something. You know what I'm saying? But I was like that too. I watched it as a kid, but then when I watched it when I was a little bit older, like probably like when I was like 15 or 16, I kind of went back and watched some parts, and I definitely appreciated it more. You know what I'm saying? Because I grew up, my freaking mind grew. You know what I mean? So like I appreciated it more for like what it tries to like teach you. You know what I'm saying?
Dragon Ball Z is
Why'd I do
without
that?
doubt one of the most influential properties on the planet. At 240 million volumes sold, it's the second most successful manga.
I need the manga in my collection. That's what I need.
Series it directly inspired, but it's also the defining moment in shonen.
Wait.
Second most successful manga on it. At 240 million volumes sold, it's the second most successful
manga. Second behind
in history.
The GOAT. I'm not gonna lie.
To a series
One Piece is the greatest anime ever. So it's, you feel me? Everything else is fighting for two. So basically, Dragon Ball Z is like basically one. I ain't gonna lie. Because One Piece don't even count, bro. One Piece that show, bro. That show's so amazing, bro.
A series that shaped nearly everything that followed it, and to which every popular series today still owes a large debt. Dragon Ball Z's success and influence have been monumental and constant. I first encountered Dragon Ball Z nearly 2 decades ago, and coming home
Jesus Christ, you're old.
After school was a massive part of my teenage years.
I'm sorry. I think I first watched Dragon Ball Z, or I watched Dragon Ball Z Kai at first. What year? I think Kai came out like 2008, 2009. So I was like 6. You know what I'm saying? I was like 6.
These characters, their battles,
7.
their struggles, I was fascinated by it all. And the series left a mark on me in a way that no other show ever really has. It's because of Dragon Ball Z I started exercising. I took up martial arts and developed an interest in showing.
But I wanted to do karate as a kid, bro. My freaking parents didn't let, bro. My parents didn't want me to do karate, but I wanted to do karate, bro. I had a friend who did karate at the time, bro. I wanted to do karate, bro.
General,
oh God, I did.
Led me to other shows like
I forgot I didn't want to do that until he just says it, bro.
The experience of watching each, I wouldn't trade for anything. Dragon Ball Z was such a big part of my life that I have my doubts if this channel would even exist at all.
Word?
And to this day, I still have a fondness for the series I have for maybe only a handful of others. So, if you want a purely objective breakdown of this series, I am not the person to give it to you. I'm not blind to the series' flaws, but they're also not my goal here. Nostalgia is a huge part of what Dragon Ball Z is to me, and more than perhaps any other show, I cannot separate my feelings of it from what my life was like when I first viewed it. And so, this will be even...
Well, I remember when I was a kid watching Goku turn Super Saiyan for the first time, bruh. It was me and one of my older brothers watching it, and then he was like charging up, transforming. Sky went black and stuff. I ran upstairs, got my other brother. We freaking ran downstairs and we all just watched it together, bruh. That was so. I don't know if they remember that, but I do, bruh. That was so fire to me, bro.
Even more so than any of my other videos, a
Bro,
nostalgically
just like,
personal
bruh.
look at what Dragon Ball Z is and was, both to me, its many fans, and the industry it defined. And to do that, I think we need to go back.
Bro, you wanna know what freaking Dragon Ball Z taught me, bro? Stories like, it's like work hard and believe in yourself, bro. Like, y'all don't know, or the people who like watch, you know what I mean? But to like my like, friends, like, bro, they would say I'm like cocky or something, bro. But bro, I like practiced every game I played, bro, to like be good at it, bro. And like now I'm just like naturally just like great at games. You know what I'm saying? Not to show my own cock or anything. You know what I'm saying? But like but like growing up, bro, I used to lose in like every game I played, bro. Excuse me, freaking Smash Bros. I used to lose all the time to my cousin. Freaking 2K, Madden, FIFA. Like, bro, it's like any game. It was like I was just like not. I was trash at it, man. You feel me? So I would practice, and then I got good enough to where I could beat everyone who was like smashing on me, except for in Smash Bros. My bro, my cousin was some demons at Smash Bros. Not gonna lie to you, or was I don't know if they still play, but bro, back in the day, there was some demons. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Back to the time that Dragon Ball Z first touched foreign shores. We need to go back to the 90s. The late 90s were a glorious era to be a young teenager who was first discovering your love of
You was a
anime.
teenager in the
Pokemon
90s?
had been on television just long enough to climatize an audience at large to the idea that Japanese
I never got into
language
Pokemon
existed,
for real.
and the success of the Sony PlayStation popularized Japanese role-playing games among a mainstream gaming audience, with generation-defining titles like Final Fantasy VII being the breakout hits of the system. And perhaps most importantly, the perforation of consumer-grade 56K modems meant that by the end of the decade,
Yeah, gang, this
the
is
vast
this is
majority
before
of
my time, gang.
consumers were now equipped to explore the internet, meaning niche interests didn't need to be quite so niche anymore. If you were so inclined, you could now connect with other anime fans, give and receive
Oh, this was the
recommendations,
internet.
or in my case,
But we didn't have good Wi-Fi until like 2017, bro. I promise you, we did not have good Wi-Fi till 2017, bro. Growing up, we did not have Wi-Fi, bro. It was all multiplayer games, basically. But when I got my phone, I was playing on my hotspot, bro. Bro, I was
spend
struggling.
days and days downloading AMVs.
We had no Wi-Fi or
songs,
cable growing up.
But even then, for a lot of people of that era, anime was still confined to the box art of
TV on the bed is crazy.
or obscure titles that would play on the barren TV slots that haunted the early hours of the morning. And if anime was to truly explode in the West, there would need to be an easily consumable, constant source of it. And that source came during the final breath of the 90s when Sean Atkins and Jason DeMarco relaunched their Toonami serialization block in 1999.
Toonami?
Toonami was nothing less than a revolutionary siren call for a
No. Let me clear things up. We did have cable growing up, but we lost it like early 2010s. So like 2012, 2013, we didn't have it no more.
generation of young anime fans, replacing
I
the
just wanted to just say that because I definitely watched all the Cartoon Network shows, Disney shows, Nickelodeon shows growing up. You feel me?
older, more traditional Power Zone slot with a
Adult Swim, even though I wasn't supposed to be watching that.
entirely with Eastern properties such as Gundam Wing, Outlaw Star, and Sailor Moon. Up until now, the only real way to consume these shows was through trading VHS tapes or downloading low-quality fan subs online. But now, anime was being broadcast directly into our living rooms, and
That's
it
fire.
was mind-blowing. And at the center of this movement and Toonami's most popular show was Dragon Ball Z.
But it must have been a crazy time to be around when like the start of the internet was starting. You feel me? Because like I was born in 2002, so we had game consoles in the house, and like growing up, so like I got to see it grow into what it is now. But I couldn't imagine life just like without all that stuff, you know. Even though I still like went outside as a kid, but just like not having a freaking PlayStation in my room or in the living room at a time, or a Xbox or something, bro. Like that just sounds crazy to me.
Keep in mind that this was late 90s American television, where the most popular animated shows were family-friendly titles like Doug and Rugrats. And by comparison, Dragon Ball Z was shocking. The show felt like a gateway into an entirely different world.
Breath of fresh
A
air.
violent and even dark place, one of insanely powerful villains that committed genocide with barely a second thought, and horrific alternate futures.
Because as kids, we did not realize how like dark the show could be. Because, bro, committing genocide is so crazy. Because Frieza did that to, like, multiple different races.
Where our entire
Frieza is a
cast of
real-life
heroes,
villain.
as well as the vast majority of the human race, had been wiped out by malevolent, psychopathic androids. It was a series where people could suffer grave bodily injury and heroes could die. It felt like a show you shouldn't be watching, one that couldn't possibly be airing on children's television.
No, I'm surprised. I'm pretty sure Kai wasn't as bloody as Z. I'm surprised my freaking mom and dad even let us watch this.
Yet it was. It also felt bizarrely unknowable and even a little mysterious. Dragon Ball Z was of course based on the Akira Toriyama manga Dragon Ball, and what we know as Dragon Ball Z is actually just the latter 325 chapters of Dragon Ball. The Z was only added when the original anime was rebooted with a new staff. This rebooted anime was then localized first by Ocean Dubbing and then by
I don't know that.
and this version that aired on Toonami in the late 90s and early 2000s. And so what we essentially got was the second half of an ongoing story. Unless you caught the very first episode in the 100 plus episode cycle, you had no real context for what a Saiyan was, who the Red Ribbon Army were, or what in the name of dear sweet chocolate Christ was going on with Chiaotzu. But this lack of information was also kind of tantalizing, adding greatly to the show's already palpable sense of mystique.
Man, as a kid, I didn't care about none of that, bro. I just wanted to see the violence. I ain't gonna lie.
The fun of
I just wanna see them
Dragon Ball
box.
Z on Toonami was slowly piecing together the details of this world and learning how it all tied together. And when you did, what you got was the story of Goku and the Z Fighters, a group of supremely powerful martial artists who would have to defend the Earth from even more supremely powerful villains, in battles that would play out as bombastic, violent showdowns. And these encounters were the centerpieces of Dragon Ball Z. The first thing that's going to hit anyone unfamiliar with Dragon Ball Z is the show's unrelenting focus on combat and action scenes.
Right.
Go to any random episode or chapter and you'll likely find two overly muscled men beating the soul out of one another.
Just banging.
Or, very occasionally, a slightly muscled girl. I love you so much.
Yo.
But it was the nature and scale of the combat that was so fresh and exciting. Characters could fly, had the strength and durability to both punch and be punched through mountains, as well as the ability to let off massive, planet-shaking energy blasts. And in the process of these catastrophic showdowns, entire countrysides would be torn apart, and cities would buckle and burst under the strain of attacks that could be measured on a galactic scale. It was violent.
Nah, but Dragon Ball Z really the GOAT, bro.
Deeply cathartic. It was easy to get lost in the sheer chaos of it. Whatever problems you had, whatever difficult realities you faced, it all faded away in the blistering light.
Cause I'm like watching these clips, bro, and I be seeing some stuff like stuff that's like similar to these scenes a little bit, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I be seeing them in like other shows, and bro, Dragon Ball Z really is like very influential on a whole bunch of different stuff, bro.
Stand out against a sea of its more everyday Western counterparts. And this aspect was only heightened by the very specific way the show handled its villains. Each arc of DBZ was defined by the appearance of a new, more powerful foe, and it was around these characters that the events of the story unfolded. What's interesting about how Dragon Ball Z uses its villains is how dramatically differently they were framed compared to the standard villains that were popular in both Western and Eastern children's media of the time.
Bro, Power Rangers, bro. Oh my gosh, bro. Bro, I feel like we took our childhood for granted, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not even that old. I'm only 20. But bruh, as a kid, bro. Watching these shows after school, freaking at night, it's like, bro, these are some of the best times, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Bruh, just think about it, bro. Nostalgia.
Structured to be highly episodic, with entire plot lines developing and concluding in a single episode. And so if there was a villain, they were usually designed to be introduced, fought, and defeated in the same 22-minute span. And for decades, this was how children's television worked.
What's that what's that show called?
The weak formula, as seen in
what's that show called? That's not He-Man. What is that? Wildcats, I think. Wildcats, bruh. My cousin had a freaking toy of this dude, bruh. That toy is so clean, bruh.
Rigorously to the monster.
I'm pretty sure it's called
as seen in
Wildcats.
Like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, He-Man, and Thundercats.
Thundercats.
This kind of
I said Wildcats.
Actually been around even longer on Japanese television, coming to prominence in the mid-70s.
Oh yeah,
with classic Sentai shows like Kamen Rider.
Suplex.
Its way
Reversal.
Power-obsessed anime and manga of the 80s, where underpowered disposable villains were routinely obliterated by hyper-powerful heroes.
What is this?
Like Kenshiro. The advantage of these disposable, replaceable bad guys was that it was a simple,
I've seen that somewhere before.
Episodic formula. One that
was he on Jump Force? I'm not gonna lie, I'm chatting this video. It's 16 minutes. I'm only 9 minutes in this video. I'm chatting. I'm just talking.
Opportunities for merchandise, while also consistently framing our heroes in the most powerful and victorious possible light. But then came the villains of Dragon Ball Z. Ultra-powerful, near-invincible demigods, beings whose mere existence was so cataclysmic that they would dominate entire story arcs, committing atrocities on a mass scale and forcing our heroes into tense, desperate
Boo was literally a freaking demon.
Unlikely and victory felt impossible. No longer monsters of the week, these were just monsters, routinely and soundly defeating our heroes, ones that shattered the 22-minute structure and planted their feet deep in the story, staying there for dozens and dozens of episodes, during which the entire plot would center solely around their existence. The story framed these villains in a way that made them feel so dominant and powerful that the idea of their defeat seemed genuinely impossible.
I feel like that's why Dragon Ball Super was as good as Z, because the villains in Z, bro, are so, like, top tier, bro. Like, bro, in each four sagas, bro, it's like a top tier villain, bro. Freaking Frieza. Well, if you want to start off with the Saiyan saga, Vegeta, you feel me? At the time, the Saiyans was a threat to Earth. You know what I'm saying? To top tier, bro. Vegeta, then Frieza. Vegeta is still a top tier character. You feel me? Freaking the androids in Cell, top tier, and then Boo, bro.
But this created an exhilarating tension, as you really felt every blow.
The only villains they had in Super was Goku Black, and it was pretty much only Goku Black. Jiren wasn't really a villain, in my opinion.
Every energy blast as our heroes inched our way forward in the face of such monstrously overwhelming odds. So when victory did occur, it felt profound and earned. One of the reasons Goku's victory over Frieza feels so monumental is that at this point in the story, you've watched Frieza decimate our heroes for dozens of episodes.
Killed Krillin.
Nail, Gohan, Piccolo, Vegeta, Krillin. In a climate where 22-minute villains reign supreme, Frieza felt like nothing less.
But the fresh air, man.
And watching Goku put everything he had into battling Frieza and eventually surpassing him, it was nothing short of inspirational. It really felt like this character had gone through a monumentally punishing ordeal and somehow come out the other end and survived.
And instead of this fight being like 22 minutes, bro, it was like 22 episodes, bro. This fight, bro, freaking Z was mad long. I don't remember how long it was for Kai, but bro, for Z, that was
this
long.
Aspect of Dragon Ball Z is one of the main qualities that would come to define what
this is gonna be an hour-long video. I'm already knowing.
Echoed in many classic arcs that.
Because when I get to talk about Dragon Ball Z, bro, I just get to talking. I'm not gonna lie. Dragon Ball Z not even one of my favorite animes. It's not even in my top 5. You know what I'm saying? But I just love the show though.
One Piece's Enies Lobby, Yu Yu Hakusho's Dark Tournament Saga, Hunter x Hunter's Chimera Ant arc. These are some of the greatest arcs in shonen history, and each one uses the same fundamental villain-centric structure that was defined and popularized in Dragon Ball Z.
Right.
With everything we've talked about up until now, it could be quite easy to boil Dragon Ball Z down as a consecutive series of one-on-one fights. And you know what? It totally was. All of Dragon Ball Z's major plot points center around the idea of combat. But I also don't view that as an objective flaw either. And the reason for that is that these characters are all written around the concept of fighting. And to explain what I mean here, let's take a little look at this scene from early on in the Android Saga. Goku and company receive a cryptic warning from the future that in 3 years, evil androids will rise up and devastate civilization, and Bulma suggests that by using the Dragon Balls, they could stop the androids before they ever activate. But Goku and the rest of the Z fighters outright refuse. They want to face the incoming android threat. They want to test themselves against these new, more powerful foes, despite reliable confirmation that they and most of humanity...
Nah, they really want to smoke. That's fire.
The takeaway from this scene
fire, I don't
is
know
that
why.
combat wasn't actually a way to solve problems to these characters. Rather, it was justification for why they exist at all. These were all proud fighters who put an immense amount of personal weight into their physical strength and skill. Or to put it a different way, Dragon Ball Z wasn't a story about fighting, it was a story about a group of characters who really loved to fight. Conflict was how these characters defined themselves. Whether it's Vegeta's identity as the Prince of all Saiyans, Goku's pride in being the strongest under the heavens, or Frieza's belief that he is the most powerful being in the universe. You could see this both in the delight these characters took while fighting, as well as the rigorous and often grueling training they would put themselves through between battles. And it was here in these scenes that you could really witness the characters' passion for both combat...
So I'm pretty sure in the show that like they even say, or I'm pretty sure Goku has said that like he trains as hard as he does because he just loves it so much, bruh. You feel me? I also feel like that can apply to someone in like real life, because me personally, I'm not doing something this much if I don't like it, bro. Just like I just can't do it.
and self-improvements as
like,
they
bruh,
struggle to
with like everything. I'm just like mad lazy because I just don't want to do it, bro.
surpass their limits and achieve new plateaus.
Just like with this vid, personally, I'm supposed to watch this like 10 hours ago, but it's 2 a.m. I'm watching it right now, but I just didn't want to at the time. Like it was like, I don't know, bro. I don't know why I'm like this.
Hell, as a grown-ass adult, these scenes were incredibly influential. You were watching characters who were extremely passionate about something and who poured everything they had into it. And it made you want to work hard as well. You wanted to feel the same rush that they did. This also gave the fight scenes a more personal and intense emotional edge. These characters had sweat and bled to reach their current level of strength. They carried an intense amount of pride in their abilities, and it made combat feel personal. Victory felt monumental and validating, while
and it was also, Jesus Christ, that pause frame.
And devastating.
I'm keeping my thoughts to myself.
Didn't just mean a loss; it was a deep personal affront to how they saw themselves, and something they may not recover from for years to come.
It's also because nobody wants us to see themselves as like weak. You feel me? So if they do lose, that's why Vegeta went over to the let Babidi control him. You feel me? Because he wanted to get stronger to be able to beat Goku.
This also meant that when protagonists stepped out to face one of the show's immensely powerful villains, there was a real emotional weight to it, like it was more than just a battle of good versus evil, but something that really personally mattered to both characters. So, the plot of Dragon Ball Z revolved around a shifting power balance between its heroes and villains, and so when a character did hit a new level of power, it was a major turning point in the story, and these moments were conveyed through Dragon Ball Z's now iconic transformation scenes. Because of how the show framed its heroes and villains, the transformations of both archetypes felt drastically different. When a villain transformed, it was a nightmare. the worst
Right.
possible case scenario, as the gap in power now widened into an abyss.
Right.
A
Because now we like, bro, how they gonna beat him now? You feel me?
villain's transformation was also something they either always had access to or could only be achieved through external means, such as Cell consuming the androids or Boo absorbing other fighters. And this worked very differently to how the heroes transformed. Heroes' transformations, for the most part, were internal, something that could only be achieved through massive amounts of the aforementioned training or having to push through
Emotional?
some deep emotional barrier that would then allow them to unleash their true potential. And because of how these moments were framed, they felt monumental, both because the heroes finally had a ray of hope in the face of the villains, as well as being deeply significant to the personal narratives of these characters.
Right. And that is also shown in other shows, you know what I'm saying? For example, Naruto, when when Hinata got banged up by pain, you know what I'm saying? Naruto thought that Hinata was freaking dead. Then he teed up, you know what I'm saying? He could not control that freaking fox. No more.
And the reason for this is that these scenes represented major moments in our characters' lives, the culmination of months, years, or even lifetimes of training and struggle. Instances where a character's entire existence is changed and they finally become what they were meant to be. And as a teenager, where you were constantly unsure of every aspect of your physical and emotional identity, these transformations were a powerful fantasy to believe in. The idea that we all had a massive amount of latent potential inside us that could be unleashed in an instant and change everything. This is also yet another aspect of the series that would come to define what shonen battle titles were, with major moments of even modern titles still featuring the same kind of transformations that were defined.
The whole big three got
popularized, and
transformations.
Dragon
All of them got multiple transformations. all of the big three. Low key, most shonen battle shonens now they have like transformation type moves, right? Pretty sure.
Ball Z.
Off the top of my head.
So what you had with Dragon Ball Z was an animation that felt more violent, dark, and
Not bad.
exciting than anything even close to its time slot, where passionate, combat-driven characters faced down invincible villains in impossible battles. To a Western teenager who was raised on the family-friendly cartoons of this era, the concepts being introduced by Dragon Ball Z were not only fresh, but mind-blowing.
I think that's what makes shows nowadays so trash that they are family friendly now. I feel like most shows or cartoons now are becoming family friendly. Like SpongeBob became family friendly, in my opinion, very family friendly. You know what I'm saying? But bruh, back when everything was like the old, bro. Now I feel like shows nowadays is where bro being canceled and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, bruh.
The reason the show
I don't
shook
like
the
it.
West like it did, and
I don't
created
like
a
it.
generation of young anime fans hungry to discover more series like it. I should note that at this point I've mainly been talking about Dragon Ball Z from a mostly Western perspective.
Right?
But in Japan, unlike the West, it was the manga that came first. The manga is probably the purest way to experience Dragon Ball Z, as well as being brilliant in some
Word.
ways that only manga really can.
I ain't never
But given the
read the
scope
manga
and
before.
length of this video, I think to do that
Look
topic
at the panels
justice,
look clean. Akira Toyama can look he draw crazy. I never seen the manga panels for real before. But this one look mad clean.
we need to return to it another day. What I
And this could kind of be interpreted as like the dark as in evil and the light as in the freaking good in Goku. You
would
know what I'm
like to
saying?
concentrate on, though, is the production of the anime, and in particular, some of the aspects it both added to and changed about the original manga. And to be clear, I'm talking about the original 291 episode version that aired on
I need to
Toonami way back when, and
buy the
not
manga
the
set.
167 episode recut Dragon Ball Z Kai that released in 2008.
It's
More
8.
on Kai in a little bit.
This
The
one I
reason
watched.
the anime of Dragon Ball Z was seen as a reboot and not just a continuation was the addition of two new key staff members, Kozo Morishita as director and Takao Koyama as writer, both of whom contributed a
He
great
looked like Adam Silver a little bit.
Deal to shaping the look and
I might
feel
be
of the
tweaking.
anime.
But he look
reason
like him though.
Morishita was brought on board was that Kazuhiko Torishima, the former editor of the series, was dissatisfied with how the anime of Dragon Ball looked, feeling that it was failing to capture the more serious tone of the manga. And so Morishita was brought on board at the launch of Z, starting at the Raditz Saga. And what's cool is you can actually see the look of the anime evolve and shift over the course of its run, with the Raditz Saga still having a lot of the soft and imprecise line work that was inherent to the original, all the way up to the finely honed, razor-sharp drawings of the Boo Saga. And I really love how the show looks at this point.
Same.
There's a real energy and solidity
This is
to
what
how
I remember,
these characters move. Morishita was also the one responsible for a lot of the more interesting art direction in Z. He wasn't afraid to take a scene from the manga and drench it in a searing neon color palette, and it gave a lot of the fight scenes this unrestrained, nearly surreal edge. Morishita would also drastically increase the level of destruction and chaos of these fights, adding in brand new stages and taking the time to animate and accentuate the damage to the surroundings, which really
dead
helps
in the ground is
communicate
so
the
crazy.
magnitude of these battles. And it was little touches like this that gave some of the story's biggest moments a far more grandiose and even emotional impact than they had in the original manga. As for Koyama, he was not only the screenwriter of the show, but he also wrote the first 13 Dragon Ball Z movies. He was the creator of popular tech.
Hold on. These was the best movies. Except for, nope. They got all the best movies pretty much. Vision Reborn, Wrath of the Dragon. This one had Tapion. I love this movie, bro. The Cooler, Return of Cooler. This is the best Cooler one. Yeah. The Return of Cooler. Turtles. Okay. Red Zone. Okay. Love Slug. Love Slug was alright. Splinter 13 was fire. The Broly, bro. The Broly movie, the first one and the second coming was definitely top tier, and then Broly was kind of, you know what I'm saying, but BoJack is my favorite. I'm not gonna lie, because when I first watched BoJack, I think it was after the Cell fight. So Gohan was my favorite character. You know what I'm saying? So like seeing this, I wish these shows was canon, bro. I wish Dragon Ball Super didn't change so much of the story. I wish these could be canon, bro. I'm pretty sure all these hoes is not canon.
Technically not
But
canon
Janemba,
characters
bro.
like Broly and Kula. He also wrote a rare Dragon Ball Z.
It's like, I like the Broly now, but OG Broly was a demon, bro. Oh my gosh.
Called Prince Vegeta.
Y'all need to watch that movie if you
supplementary
haven't.
comic illustrated by Minoru Maeda that fleshed out Vegeta's backstory and early life. And to this day,
Wait, what's it called?
side manga called
Side manga, High Price, say Prince Vegeta.
A supplementary comic illustrated by Minoru Maeda
Let me read that
that
hoe.
fleshed out Vegeta's backstory and early life. And to this day, you can still see him giving interviews arguing that Broly could kick anyone's ass in Super. I bring all this up.
OG Broly? OG Broly, no. Because OG Broly lost to Super Saiyan 2 Goku. Or, I'm pretty sure it was Super Saiyan 2 Goku. So, OG Broly couldn't. But Broly now, the Broly now is probably hanging with a lot of people. Because he fought against Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
Koyama was extremely passionate.
And he's training with freaking Beerus and them now. So yeah.
These characters. And you could see this especially in the additional scenes he'd add to the show, which he'd use to flesh out these characters, their relationships and backstories. Take this scene from Trunks' battle with Cell. In the manga, Cell basically just curb stomps the young Saiyan, but in the anime, the scene is given some much needed weight and context by fleshing out both fighters' stories with individual flashback scenes.
Oh yeah.
The first is Trunks explaining the hardships he had to endure in the android-ravaged future, including an especially tragic sequence where we actually watched the Z fighters one by one being hunted down and wiped out by the androids. And I really love this scene because it really helps communicate just how dire Trunks' future was. But then Cell too.
Nah, bro, future Trunks be having the worst futures, bro. He be having the worst futures. Freaking the androids came, freaking Goku Black, like, bruh.
his story, how he awoke in the distant timeline after the androids and Z fighters had wiped each other out and found himself trapped and alone in the broken future, unable to evolve without his android counterparts. It's a minor moment, but it does add an ever so slight air of sympathy for Cell, as just like Trunks, he had to endure a ruined future and find his way back to the past. And as a result, even though the fight itself isn't especially memorable, the way the characters' narratives are intertwined through their backstories forms an odd kind of connection between the two. It makes them both feel like they've really been through a lot to bring them to this point, giving the encounter some much needed emotional context. And this is what Koyama brought to Dragon Ball Z. More flashbacks, more emotion, more Piccolo and Gohan slowly forming the cutest friendship on the planet, more Vegeta being sad in the rain, just more
Chillin'
of these
Vegeta.
characters and who they were. There were also other aspects that contributed to the show's success, and particularly in the West, one of which was Bruce Faulkner's incredible soundtrack, which underlaid many of the show's scenes with a deliciously dark synthetic audio flavor, while also
Never
bringing
lie,
a good
bro.
degree
Z
of
music was some bangers, bro. How'd the intro go for Kai? I don't remember, but I was just singing that whole yesterday. I swear to God, I was. I forgot it
some of
though.
its more poignant moments. And likewise with a lot of the voice work, some of
I'm gonna
which
think about
was incredible. In particular, the performance of Christopher Sabat, who voiced both Piccolo and Vegeta. And just listen to the emotion he brings to this scene as Piccolo begs.
Bro, I lucky
Goku
want to be a
stop.
voice actor, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Voice acting seems like it could be a cool job, bro. But I don't know if I got a voice for that hoe though. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know.
The fight between Gohan
I
and
feel like
Cell.
it'd be cool though.
Do you want to know what he's thinking? He's not thinking about strength or about competition. He's wondering why his father is standing there.
Is this Piccolo the same voice actor in Super and in the Super movie? I don't remember it sounding like this, unless I'm tweaking.
Letting him die. And so your son may be the most
Oh,
powerful person
kinda
in
wanna
the
look it
world, but he's also a scared 11-year-old boy.
I mention all these individuals because while the manga is brilliant and singular, many people were responsible for the success of the Dragon Ball Z anime, and considering that's the version that brought the series to a global audience, I felt like they deserved some credit here. So, up until this point in the video, I've been treating Dragon Ball Z as gently as I possibly could. I haven't talked about any of the series' faults. I haven't spoken about the nearly absurd level of filler that pads out and bogs down nearly every part of the anime.
But let's be real. Animes back then, in the way that like they was made, they kind of needed to have filler. You know what I'm saying? They kind of needed it because also Naruto has it. Naruto to this day still has freaking it. Boruto literally for freaking 3 or 4 years had straight filler, like bro. And then Naruto Shippuden had it. OG Naruto had it. Literally, like the whole series all together is like 500 plus episodes of straight filler. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of crazy. But I'm trying to. I'm not. It was still him. I guess I'm just tweaking. Or maybe I watched
the overuse
Super
of cost-saving animation
in.
techniques drags the quality of
I
the
think I watched
product
Super
down.
in
And
Japanese.
there's
That's
places
why I
in the
probably
manga
don't
where you can really feel Toriyama's exhaustion,
remember it.
as he at this point had been writing weekly manga for nearly 2 decades, and his fatigue shows in the occasional drop in quality of the art or how contrived some of the writing feels, especially
Nah, bro,
later
these
on.
mangakas, bro, 2 decades, almost to it was 13 years straight, weekly, bro. Oh my gosh, bro.
Around the Boo Saga. The series suffers from basically every issue a long-running shonen manga can. Power creep, an underutilized supporting cast, the Piccolo effect. These were all problems that I didn't see as a teenager, but now,
I wonder
years
if this
later,
dude still
it's
makes
impossible for me to ignore. And even
videos.
outside those criticisms, it's hard not to see now how other shows have taken the foundation Dragon Ball Z laid out and built upon it. It's a far simpler story
Yep.
than titles like One Piece or Hunter x Hunter, and those series arguably took what Dragon Ball Z did and built more interesting and creative worlds around it, and filled those worlds with a more diverse and compelling cast of characters. Titles like Yu Yu
amazing.
Hakusho also took the themes of Dragon Ball Z and expressed them in infinitely more relatable, human, and heartfelt ways. And
But I feel like a lot of
the truth is,
I feel like a lot of tropes that I feel like was, at least when I first see them, was Dragon Ball. I feel like a lot of other shows also took inspiration in that. You know what I'm saying? The freaking trainer, the sensei role. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of shows also took on that show. I don't know if any other shows was doing that prior to Dragon Ball, but Dragon Ball Z was like the first show I ever seen
2018 to
do something like
Dragon
that.
Ball Z for the first time. As much as I love the series, I find it difficult to recommend anybody 291 episodes of anything. And while Kai certainly makes that a lot more digestible, it's not the version of the show I grew up with. Having dropped the iconic Bruce Faulkner soundtrack and cutting a lot of the additional scenes, including the two mentioned above, and rewriting a lot of Koyama's dialogue to better match the manga, and in the process, losing a lot of the subtlety and nuance, as well as a host of other
So you telling me Dragon Ball Z Kai is like trash or something? Because Kai's what I grew up on. I did not grow up on freaking Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z came out early 2000s or prior to that. You know what I'm saying? I was only born in '02, so this was not coming up on the TV.
minor nitpicks that I'm sure very few people but me will actually care about. And even then, for me personally, I don't know that I'm ever going to go back and rewatch Dragon Ball Z in its entirety. I don't know that I'll ever be at a place in my life again where I'd have the time or desire to make that possible. But in a way, I think that's okay, because what's more important to me than that is the memory the show has left me with. And so, it only feels
That's
right
beautiful.
to end this video with the part of Dragon Ball Z that stayed with me the longest, and the character that affected me the most.
I bet you the most.
Vegeta enters Dragon Ball Z's
Vegeta.
story as the main villain of
Vegeta is everybody's goat of this show and of all of anime, and I can't be mad at that choice, bro. Can't be mad at the choice, bro.
Born a warrior prince to the Saiyan race, Vegeta's combat capabilities excelled from an early age, fighting and winning alongside his father, King Vegeta, defining his identity by his ferocity and strength, declaring himself the elite of the elite, the prince of all Saiyans. These times would not last, however.
To this
as one
day, he still
day,
claims that title.
Vegeta watches his father defeated by the malicious space warlord Frieza, who takes Vegeta as an indentured servant in exchange for sparing his life, his father, and his people, only to go back on that agreement later as Frieza destroys the Saiyan home planet and wiping out nearly the entire race.
But in Battle of the Gods, but they should have had Vegeta kill Frieza, bro. He should have had him get his get back, bro. I wish they would have had him get his get back, gang, bro. That man Frieza was there tormenting them since he was a kid.
Frieza in the hopes of becoming one day powerful enough to rise up and defeat him, during which time he suffers a humiliating defeat on Earth at the hands of Goku, a low-born Saiyan commoner. After much hardship, the day finally comes when Vegeta believes he has finally ascended to the level of the legendary Super Saiyan and faces off against Frieza, only to be crushed under the heel of the invincible warlord, and then watches in disgrace as Goku did what he never could, becoming a Super Saiyan and finally bringing an end to Frieza's
That's
reign.
where his
Vegeta,
envy
now
of
without
him
purpose or
became.
direction, goes to live on Earth and trains relentlessly in order to surpass his rival and escape the shadow that Goku has cast. But as time marches on, he finds himself slowly becoming a reluctant ally both to Goku and the people of Earth.
That's something he did
The
not
years
want.
go by, and Vegeta awakens one day to a life he no longer recognizes. He now has a human wife and half-Saiyan child, whom he's actually grown to care for. During which time, the warrior prince he once was has started to feel like a distant memory. This realization awakens within Vegeta a deep anger. How could the prince of all Saiyans be reduced to the common life of a family man? And in that anger, he trades his soul for the acquisition of greater power, and turns on his former allies,
to a
attacking
demon.
and killing a crowd of innocent people in a bid to drag Goku into one final terrible fight. These actions would bring about the rise of Majin Buu, an invincible monster that would wreak havoc across the Earth. And so Vegeta, faced with the destruction he has now wrought, takes his son into his arms and hugs him for the first time, before sending him away and
My George was 8 at this time. That's the first time I hugging him.
And in the first selfless act of his existence, gives his life in one final brilliant attack. Like every character in Dragon Ball Z, death would only prove temporary for Vegeta.
Right.
He later returned to aid Goku in the final battle against Buu, finally letting go of his pride and accepting Goku as both an ally and a friend. Vegeta's story hit me so hard in my younger years, and I'd be lying if I said that ever stopped being
I'm not gonna laugh over the scene, bro. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna cry. Bro, this is beautiful.
And the reason for that is that despite all his strength, despite the fact that he
Stop
exists
cutting
in
you
a
off.
universe of explosive spectacle and superpowered showdowns, he still felt so real and flawed. Someone with an intense amount of both pride and self-loathing who would measure themselves against everyone around them. A person who would make disastrous self-destructive decisions and suffer crushing defeat after crushing defeat. Someone who would awaken one day to realize that life hasn't turned out like they planned, that the person they thought they would become is now never going to exist. And yet someone who at the end of everything was still able to find contentment. And that is some heavy shit to put in a children's cartoon that aired every day at 5 p.m. But in a broader sense,
Both
Vegeta
called the
also
time.
represents what I love about Dragon Ball Z. You'd watch these characters reach deep down inside themselves in order to face the overwhelmingly impossible. And in the light of that, getting up the next day and heading out into the world and dealing with whatever problems you face there, it made it feel a little more possible. Dragon Ball Z wasn't a story about getting what you want, it was one about surpassing who you are. And this to me is the legacy of the series, the blast it let off, the reverberations of which would be felt throughout the entirety of shonen storytelling for decades to follow, and the resulting force of which would punch through global barriers and create entire continents of new anime fans. It's a story about great characters doing impossible things. And for me, for an industry and for a generation, this was the impact of Dragon Ball Z. The series that changed everything.
Bro, this is a beautiful video, bro. I hope he makes more content, because this show was this show is freaking 5 years old. Hopefully he still makes content, bro. This is amazing, bro. I'm freaking Twitch, bro. My Twitch. One day we going to either watch Dragon Ball Z from start to finish, or we gonna read that hoe from start to finish, bro. I need to experience that again, bro. Cause I don't recall too much from Dragon Ball, but bro, oh my gosh, bro. I already knew that this video was gonna be an hour long. I already knew, bro. But yeah, man. Shout out anyone who, you feel me, watch it all. I don't know. You feel me? He made a One Piece video too. Hold on, bro. I'm gonna become a fan. But yeah, shout out to bro. I'll leave his video link down below in the description. Make sure y'all check out his channel. I'm gonna check it out to see if he makes some more content. You feel me? And yeah, make sure you have a blessed day. And let me get to 50 minutes real quick. Also, you know what I'm saying? HelloFresh is sponsoring your boy for the next. It ends the 17th. It ends next Monday. You know what I'm saying? So I really appreciate if y'all can support me. Saying. And yeah, go follow my Twitch. Trying to hit 100 followers. By the end of the year, preferably hit 100. That'll be fire. You know what I'm saying? Be sure over there every day almost. But yeah, make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Have a blessed day. Peace.
Then she gon' pull out the tape and tie me up, then lock me away. That bitch, she said that she hate me. I am not phased. My niggas waiting at your place. For all this shit escalate, I need to know how many niggas you've played. How did you take off your tape? She looking right at me, yeah, she swerves into the lake.